Hey, good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mike Papale, and I am the president and CEO of In a Heartbeat. And the reason I'm on here live today is because one of the goals of our nonprofit in 2020 has been to improve our video content that we put out on social media. So we're going to try to do some live videos so you can learn more about our organization and the really cool work that we're doing. We're also going to be posting videos, some testimonials from some organizations that we've impacted, some really inspiring stories from cardiac arrest survivors, heart disease patients, and this will give you an opportunity to kind of see why we do the amazing work that we do. We're also going to be putting out profiles on our board of directors so you can learn about the amazing people that do the work and make everything that we do happen. So I'm really, really excited about it, and I'm really excited to be here doing our first live video that we've ever done since we were founded a few years ago. So before I really get going today, I just want to take an opportunity to send my thoughts and prayers to everybody out there throughout the country that's dealing with the coronavirus right now. I know it's a really confusing and frustrating and hard time for a lot of people, and I feel the same way. And I know as a country we're going to come together and we're going to get through this. But I just want to reiterate what everybody else is saying, and that is to wash your hands more than you normally would. If you have access to it, use hand sanitizer, and most importantly, practice social distancing. And I know that's a really, really hard thing to do, and it's really it's pulling a lot of people out of their comfort zone because we tend to thrive on being social and being around other people. But it's important to stay away and to keep your distance. And fortunately, we live in a time where we have technology that allows you to keep in contact with your family, your friends, your loved ones. If this was happening 40, 50 years ago, we wouldn't be able to do that. But luckily today, we do have the ability to stay in contact via technology. So do the best you can, and the more people that can jump on board and the more people that can stay away from others and practice social distancing, the more we'll be able to flatten the curve and save more lives from this very, very deadly virus. So I'd also like to take an opportunity to thank any families, any friends, any followers, any supporters that we have here. We have an amazing group of people that support everything that we do, and we would not be able to fulfill our mission without your support. So I truly want to thank all of you for following us, for supporting us, for donating to us, because without your work and without your help, this would not be possible. We are a 501c3 organization that relies very heavily on donations and fundraising. So if we don't get donations and we aren't able to fundraise, then we can't fulfill and do the work that we want to do. So today's live video is just going to be a brief introduction, and I know there's a lot of people out there that know our story and are very familiar and have heard my personal story of why we do this. So, but for those who haven't, that's what I'm going to kind of get into today and talk about, why In a Heartbeat became a thing and why we started this really cool organization. So, it is definitely it's a family story and something that happened a long time ago. We actually founded the organization in 2015, but the story goes back to 2006. And I was a really healthy 17-year-old kid, had no signs or symptoms that I had anything wrong with my heart. I was training at a really high level, really hoping to play college basketball, hoping to start getting recruited, and working out a ton. And again, never really had any signs or symptoms that I could possibly have heart disease. On August 24th, 2006, I woke up early in the morning with my brother, 6 a.m., and we went over to Choate Rosemary Hall, where we went through a basketball workout. And one of our friends picked us up. We went through a workout for like an hour and a half. And the workout was completely fine. Nothing out of the ordinary. I totally felt fine, got through it. Nothing really that stuck out to my brother or my friend that was there with us. After the workout, we went over to the Wallingford Parks and Recreation Center, where my dad was hosting his basketball camp that he had been hosting for years. And my brother and I, we were both counselors, and we went into the camp. It was 8 o'clock in the morning. I walked in, I said hi to my dad, ordered my lunch and changed my shirt, and that's the last thing I remember from that day. At about 10:30, I was sitting down in the bleachers, and I was a bunch of kids around me, and I just slumped over and went into sudden cardiac arrest. And for those of you who aren't familiar with sudden cardiac arrest, the only way you can survive cardiac arrest is you need immediate CPR and you need to be quickly shocked by an automated external defibrillator. Unfortunately, I did not get CPR right away, and the building that I was in did not have an automated external defibrillator there. So those two factors made my chances to survive very, very slim. I was really lucky that somebody was smart enough to call 911. And in the building next door to where I was, there was a guy, and he was sitting at his desk at his computer, and he got the 911 call on his pager. He came over, and he performed CPR on me and did a really, really good job because he kept me alive. He sustained me. He prevented brain damage until an ambulance came, and the EMTs came in with an AED, and they were able to shock my heart back to a normal rhythm. I was rushed off to Mid-State Medical Center in Meriden and then the Connecticut Children's Medical Center in Hartford, where I eventually spent 2 weeks. And when I first became conscious, and the first thing I can remember, which was 2 days after the event happened, I went through a bunch of tests, EKGs, echocardiograms, cardiac MRIs, cardiac catheterizations. The doctors wanted to figure out what made me go into cardiac arrest because it's not supposed to happen when a 17-year-old goes into cardiac arrest, and they knew something caused it. So I was eventually diagnosed with hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which is in a large heart muscle, and they told me I'd never play basketball again. And they implanted the defibrillator, so I have a ICD, or an implantable cardioverter defibrillator in my chest, and I spent 2 weeks there, and eventually they sent me home. And I had to just kind of get back into normal life. And one of the first things that I did when I got home was my mom set up a meeting at the American Heart Association for me and her. And I didn't really understand why, but we went over there, and they asked us to sign up as volunteers and spokespeople for the AHA to help them with their mission. And, I really didn't know what was going to go into it, but we agreed to sign up, and we started working for them and volunteering and speaking at events and sharing our story. And, the reason why we were doing it is because we didn't want another family to kind of almost have a near tragedy like our family had. And our doctors told me in the hospital that my chances to survive based on not having CPR and based on not having an AED there were 1 in a million. So we didn't want anyone else to have those odds. So we went and testified for bills, we lobbied, we participated in the AHA's events, and it was a great opportunity for me to kind of give back after what had happened to me, and really use the near tragedy that we went through as a family to try to save other people's lives. So at that time, it was 2006, 2007, a little bit in 2008. I had gone off to college and really didn't know what I was going to do with my life. We still kind of helped out with the Heart Association, but as time went on, we kind of started talking about starting our own nonprofit and how we had all these really cool things that we wanted to do. And, we just didn't do it. We talked about it a ton with my family, with my friends, and everybody was on board to do it, but we never kind of took that action, took that step to kind of move forward and really start our own organization. So fast forward a few years, I was coaching college basketball at Quinnipiac University, which was also my alma mater. And it was time for me to get my ICD, my implanted defibrillator, replaced, which is normal. They run on batteries, and the batteries last about 8 to 10 years. So I went in for the surgery at the end of the summer of 2014. And went in for the surgery, got the battery replaced, and went home. And what I didn't know is in that surgery, I caught an infection. It didn't start showing itself till about 2 months later, when our season was really getting off, and I was starting to experience some weird symptoms. I was really swollen on my chest. I was red. I was itchy. I was, experiencing things that I'd never experienced before. So we went back to my doctors, and they gave me some medication. It made the redness go away, the itchiness go away. We went home, and a week later, I started spiking extreme temperatures. High fevers from, I was sweating all night to freezing to sweating. And we called the doctors the next day, and they came back and told me they needed to see me immediately because they had fear that my device was infected. And once an infection settles on metal in your body can't fight it anymore. So we went back to the doctor, and that's what they determined. They wanted to take the device out, and not only the device and the battery, which is a really routine surgery, they wanted to take out the wires that were directly touching my heart. And in order to do this, they were going to have to use a laser to very carefully extract them. And they explained that one of the risks of the surgery during a lead extraction is that the scar tissue that's built up around the leads could rip, and your heart could start bleeding, and you could potentially die in surgery. They said there was only a 1% to 2% chance of that happening, but what they needed to do was they needed to prepare me for open heart surgery, because if the scar tissue did in fact rip and my heart started bleeding, they would have to perform emergency open heart surgery to save my life. So we went in for this surgery. When I say we, because it's always, you're always going in there with your family. It's never just on your own, and they have to sit there and wait. So, we all went in there, and I was the one on the operating table. But, as they were extracting the leads, scar tissue started to rip, and they had to perform emergency open heart surgery to save my life. And it ended up being a 12-hour surgery, which was much more difficult for my family that was in the waiting room and my friends and family that was back home waiting to hear that I'd gotten out of the surgery safely, because it was only supposed to last a few hours, and it ended up lasting 12. And I woke up on Thanksgiving Day, 2014, in the hospital bed after open heart surgery, and I spent another 2 weeks in the hospital. Had to have my defibrillator out while they flushed this infection out of my body. They sent me home with a life vest that I could wear to serve as my defibrillator. In the meantime, I had a PICC line in my arm, administering antibiotics throughout the day to try and get this infection out of my system as quickly as possible. So after about a 6-week recovery, I got back into coaching, and during that time while I was sitting home, it kind of made me reflect on how, as a family and as a group of friends, we had always talked about starting this organization, and we had never done it. So I promised myself that once I got healthy and was cleared and I got this little setback behind me, I was going to start this nonprofit. So in the summer of 2015, we fundraised some money, we worked with some lawyers, and we applied for 501c3 status to get our nonprofit status. And we founded In a Heartbeat. And our mission is to prevent death from sudden cardiac arrest and hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. And we have a really, really good group of people that work on it with us. We created a board of directors that all have skills and passion for our cause, and really everything we do would not be possible without their help. So I'm not going to get into all our programs. I'm going to save that for another day, but I'm really excited about all the work that we've done, and I'm really excited about the work that we're going to do going forward. Please take some time to share this page or share our work with anybody that you know that might be able to benefit from it. Please feel free to visit our website at www.inaheartbeat.org. And, you can find everything that we're doing, and I'm going to come back within the next couple of days to kind of tell you about the different programs that we have and that we offer, and the different things that we can do to help. And again, thank you all for following, for being a friend of the organization, for donating, for making everything that we do possible, because I truly feel that our work and our mission would not be able to be fulfilled without your support. So thank you for your time. Please feel free to ask any questions you might have. And again, the more you can share our page and the more you can share our mission, the more lives we'll be able to save. Thank you.